Do yourself a favor, watch BoJack Horseman. Created by Raphael Bob Waxberg and premiered on Netflix in the summer of 2014, BoJack Horseman is a satirical adult animated comedy drama about a depressed anthropomorphic horse who starred in the hit 90s sitcom Horsin' Around and is now living vicariously through his past success. For a show about a stupid piece of shit horse, it's surprisingly thought-provoking. But what makes BoJack Horseman so special? What separates this show from other shows that deal with similar topics? Let's get into it. Starring the guy who's really horny for Reese's peanut butter cups as the titular BoJack Horseman, Annie from Community as Diane, Jesse from Breaking Bad as Todd, Foxy Loxy from Chicken Little as Princess Carolyn, Mr. Peanut Butter. The cast is a wonderful conglomeration of people with problems. This isn't working. If you know anything about this show, I'm sure it's from friends or the countless video essays telling you that BoJack Horseman is a masterclass of dramatic tension and character development. On top of that, BoJack and the rest of the cast are fantastic, surprisingly realistic and fleshed out characters that you can relate to or look down on depending on who the viewer is. I agree with all of that, but I don't think that's the reason why this show is important, or at least it's not one of the main reasons. Not to mention the fact that I just don't want to be repeating what everybody else has been saying. So yes, this is still a do yourself a favor video, but I'm gonna mix things up a little bit. Here is why BoJack Horseman matters. Not only has television and movies in recent years portrayed anti-heroes in much more of a prominent light, but they've been portrayed in many different ways. Some want you rooting for them, some want you rooting against them, but BoJack has seemed to strike a chord right in between these two. And with that, he has become incredibly polarizing, at least with the people that I've discussed this show with. I understand that a main character should be driving the narrative in a way the viewer should be interested in seeing how it ends, and even still BoJack can be comedic enough to keep a viewer entertained. But this show is different because a lot of times you almost don't want to see what happens next, especially in the later seasons. BoJack makes some pretty horrific decisions in his life. In fact, a lot of what he's done can be hard to stomach, especially when you think he may be starting to improve. It's a weight that's pushing on BoJack and the viewer's shoulders throughout the entire run of the show. The emotional tension is built up so much that this show only uses the F word once a season, just to really drive home a tense moment. In today's day and age, the concept of self-reflection and self-image is more prominent than it has been in a very, very long time, especially with young adults. And this is a topic that the main character, BoJack Horseman, tackles a lot. Not to say the other characters don't have their own problems. In fact, I wouldn't even say that BoJack is the best written character in the show. But there's a reason why he's the main character. With that being said, let's take a look at what BoJack Horseman struggles with. BoJack has severe mental health disorders, more specifically a chronic case of depression, struggles with imposter syndrome, drug abuse, addiction in more ways than just drugs. He's from a broken family with terrible generational trauma. He's a cynical asshole who hates the world. He's incredibly egotistical. He can't hold a stable relationship. He's not actually a good actor. He is a hypocrite, a loser, a stupid piece of shit who ruins everyone he comes in contact with, no matter if he tries to make the right or wrong decisions. Anyone felt any of that before? This show is a huge commentary on so many of these issues that everyone today deals with, whether we like it or not. And don't get me wrong, I'm not excusing BoJack's behavior whatsoever, but I believe holding BoJack responsible isn't as important as understanding BoJack. Because, you know, he's a fictional character. Do not agree with his decisions. If anything, you should want him to be held accountable for his decisions. But you should also understand why it happens. It is so important to identify where these issues can arise, no matter how popular, successful, or happy a person can be, and what measures you can take to help make them better. My first impressions of BoJack as a character was that he was a shitty, depressing old guy with a lot of success on his shoulders, but didn't really know what to do with it. If you've seen the My Greatest Fear video I made a bit ago, you'd know that I struggle with pretty severe anxiety. I would consider myself a person in a good place in life. I have a lot of friends and family who care about me. I'm doing well in school. I'm more confident than I've ever been before, yada yada yada. You're not here to listen to me gloat about myself. Anxiety is something I'm going to have to deal with my whole life. So with all of that, I saw this show with the message of anybody can struggle, even those with a good life, which is kind of true on the surface level, but it certainly isn't what the show is about. And I think that was selfish of me to think that way from the start. BoJack is inherently made to be a terrible person, and even though the show doesn't justify his behavior, the message of how shitty life can treat you even if you're a good person sticks. One of the biggest mottos in BoJack Horseman is that everyone can look forward to the best day ever, but what happens the day after that? Life doesn't end there. You have to keep moving. All of the bad decisions you have made certainly may hurt you, but nothing's going to change until you take that first step.
I just wanted to tell you, I know you want to be happy, but you won't be, and I'm sorry.
What?
It's not just you, you know. Your father and I, you come by it honestly, the ugliness inside you. You were born broken. That's your birthright. And now you can fill your life with projects, your books and your movies and your little girlfriends, but it won't make you whole.
There is no changing you unless you make that change. Moments like these are why this show is so important. It starts a discussion. I've asked some of my friends what they got out of BoJack, and although I got some similar sounding answers to my explanation, I actually think it might be a better idea to let you, the viewer, tell me what you took away. That is, if you've watched the show already. BoJack Horseman may have great writing, great character development, great world building, the whole 10 miles. The statement that this show makes echoes louder than any 13 reasons why bullshit the media and society are going to throw at you. You don't have to like it all, but you should learn to understand it. Life ain't easy, but you aren't the only one. Find who you are, and don't let your bad decisions choose fate for you.
It gets easier.
Huh?
Every day it gets a little easier.
Yeah?
But you gotta do it every day. That's the hard part. But it does get easier.
I cannot wait for how this show ages. It is most certainly a product of its time, unlike anything I've seen in this past decade.
But isn't the point of art less what people put into it and more what people get out of it?
Is that the point of art?
Maybe. Or maybe art doesn't need a point. Maybe that's why it's called art.
I can't tell if you're being smart or stupid.
Oh, I never know.
I think you had it for a moment and then you lost it.
Oh, well. It was nice while it lasted, right?
Sure. It was nice while it lasted.